Hello YouTube, this is iGazer's Photography, and today you're going to have a little bit of a long story, so sit back, relax and listen to the saga of purchasing a new, well, second-hand Ricoh GR2 for a street photography compact camera. So let's start a long time ago, right back at the beginning, when I started my love affair with Fuji. Now, I've always liked Fuji and really like the IQ and just the way these cameras handle. And I guess my real love affair with Fuji started with the X100. And now you're going to be saying, huh? But if you like Fuji and you had an X100, one of the classic street cameras out there, why haven't you stayed with the X100? Well, let me tell you a story of trading. You see, I have a wife, and whilst I would love to keep every single camera that I've ever bought, I kind of get into trouble. So, this is the saga of Mr. Tyler's purchasing of Fuji cameras. So we start with the X100 that I bought second hand from MPB down in Brighton. Thank you, MPB. Beautiful camera. Love the handling, love the feel of it, love the sense of it, love the images that it took. And it was wonderful. And I was shooting that as a second camera against my Olympus OMD Mark V. Mark V? OMD EM5. Gets confusing. Hang in there. So, what I discovered was that with the X100, although I loved it, and I really loved the black and whites from it, it was very laggy on the autofocus, and too many images, particularly relatively close street portraits, would be embarrassing to say the least, as it decided that the rear buildings were the focus point rather than my subject. And I was out one day with Andrew Newson, andrewnewson.co.uk, by the way, for a photo walk up in London. And we kind of passed Camera World. Now, this is going to be a little litany of all the supplies that I use and all the people that I kind of work with, but bear with me. So, Camera World, along with most other Fuji dealers, at that time were offering the Fuji deal of the century. The best Fuji deal that I think they've ever formally done. You see, you can get an X Pro 1 brand spanking new with the f/18 and the f/27 lenses for free. And what that meant was you were paying about £650 for a body that was amazing. And you got 2 lenses free. Or, to put that another way, you bought 2 Fuji lenses and got a free camera. So I kind of traded in the X100 for the X Pro 1 with 2 lenses, and then learnt how to use it by borrowing some charged batteries from Camera World, thank you very much, returning those at the end of the day, and did my street photography with the X100, swapping between 18mm and 27mm throughout the day, and loved it. In fact, I loved it so much that very soon the Olympus OMD EM5 wasn't coming out with me anymore. So I traded that in for some more lenses, as you would. And when the XT1 was launched, I kind of desperately needed a second body. So it kind of accidentally traded itself for some credit from my credit card one day. And then for a good few years, I was shooting with the X Pro 1 and the XT1 and loved the different handling. The X Pro 1 became my sort of grab and go street camera, and the XT1 was what I was using in the studio and when I was doing location shoots and stuff with models and fashion and all that type of stuff. And so we went for a good couple of years. And then Fuji did the crazy thing of improving after a long time. The X Pro 1 with the X Pro 2. Now every year Park Cameras down in Burgess Hill have a festival day, and this celebrates them opening their facilities, a single facility in Burgess Hill, whereas before that they had a store in Hayward Heath and a store in Burgess Hill, and they opened a big custom built dealership in Burgess Hill on the edge of Victoria Park Industrial Estate. And so on the celebration of this that coincided with the X Pro 2, I merrily went down on my way and got talking to the guys from Fuji, who went, "Ah, Mr. Tyler, hello. You would love this shiny X Pro 2, wouldn't you? And you can tell where this is going, because this again is an intermediate camera for me." And I traded in the X Pro 1 and the XT1 and pretty much got the X Pro 2 for no money. So I became a one camera body person again. Now I got some other sweeteners. I got a very nice Millicam Christopher camera back, and I'm a little bit of a sort of sucker for a nice camera bag. And they threw in a few other nice little bits to sweeten the deal. And then, for a good period of time, I shot with the X Pro 2 and got more lenses. And loved it. Really loved it. Now, during this time, in Slough, PC World, believe it or not, were relocating. And I popped across the road to go there to see whether they had any little smackerels of nice little nuggets of special deals. And they had an X-Display X70 that they needed to shift that I picked up for the princely sum of £249. So we purchased this. Me, my stomach and my credit card. And on paper, the X70 should have been a superb, wonderful camera, and its images are brilliant. Do not get me wrong. Its ability to capture an image in such a small format was truly, truly amazing. But it's never sat in the hands properly. And as you can see, I'm not showing you an X70. It kind of went. Now there's a very, very good reason it went. The X70 was pretty much sitting there doing nothing. Every time I went to reach for the camera, whether I was doing street, going out for a day with a family, I picked up the X Pro 2. I still can't really explain why. Is it because it didn't have the viewfinder? Probably. But it just never bonded with me the way the other Fujis have. So to this year, Fuji release the XH1. Park Cameras have another of their festivals, and I decided I would pop down and see if I could get a deal, not on the XH1, but with trading in the X70, could I get the deal that would land an X100F in my hands? And they had such a deal. But Fuji salesmen are tricky people. And they said, Mr. Tyler, have you seen the XH1? And I said, no, I haven't. And so they put one in my hands. And Fuji people are very good at letting you use their stuff. And here is the said Fuji XH1. And I love it in the studio. The grip is superb. The heft of it is lovely. I can shoot it one-handed. I shoot it two-handed for some strange reason. Its IQ is lovely. Burst speeds. The ability to tether. Its video capabilities gives me an opportunity on video. Needless to say, obviously, this is being recorded on the stupid front-facing camera of my iMac, when I should be using this. And this is lovely. But its list price, without any lenses, is just shy of £2,000. And I said, I can't afford it. My wife would kill me. And if I had spent £2,000 unplanned, she would have, or at least divorced me. But obviously, I have the camera. And the lovely gentleman from Fuji just kept on offering freebies and dropping prices and offering me more trade-in value. And it got to a point where they were offering too good a deal to be ignored. But it meant my beloved X Pro 2 had to be part of the deal, as did the X70, as did a lens that I really didn't use anyway. Even at that, I wasn't a good enough deal. So they dropped the price some more, and they offered me a donkey camera bag, the 803 by the way I think it is, with lovely leather bits and Fuji X logos on it and things. And Park offered me some large storage cards, and I hummed and hawed, and they doubled my trade-in value, and all of a sudden it was too good a deal to be ignored. came home, I told the wife. She went, I picked up the X Pro 2, I picked up all my boxes, and I made my merry way very, very quickly back to Park Cameras and did the deal. And there we were, an XH1, which I love. I think it's brilliant. I love handling it. I love the quality of the images I get from it. And with the extra size and heft of the camera, I find my studio images are just that bit sharper. I find that when I'm out on location, it's just a little bit sweeter. It's minor, but I tell you what, that in-camera stabilization, oh boy does that work really well. Just as it did on my Olympus OMD, but it's nice to have it. But there is a cost, and not a monetary cost. You see, the cost is, it's rather big. Street cameras. Candid moments. Getting people without realising that you're taking their photo so they look natural. Doesn't really happen with that beastie. You can do it. Take the grip off. It's smaller than the Canon stuff. It's still lighter than the guys wandering around with the full DSLR kit. Don't get me wrong, it does the job. But it's not that sneaky little piece. And the whole reason I went to Park Cameras was to pick up an X100F so that I could have a sneaky, little, easy to handle, and also nice IQ and quality of image of that X100F. And I walk away with a monster camera. Now remember, we started this with, how do I get to this little beauty? Well, so I was looking around and I've been keeping my eyes out for a reasonably priced, good quality Fuji X something. Now the trouble with the Fuji X is it's a bit of a cult camera. It's rather, well, good at retaining its value. I still see the original X100s second hand going for about £350 in good condition, and you don't really see any in bad condition. S's about £450, maybe over £500. T's about 600, and F's second hand about 800 to 900. And for a second body, for something that I don't do that often, it's just too expensive. I could buy a quality lens for that sort of cash. Now MPB, love them. Just occasionally get some bashed up versions of things, and they're really honest about the quality of their second-hand cameras. And I saw an F for about £600. I tried to phone them up to get a comment on just how badly bashed up this bashed up subpar X100F was. And the guy on the phone said, "Sir, it's really not that bad. It's mainly cosmetic. It's still fully functioning. But we've just sold it. Lesson to learn. Strike." A few weeks later, they had an X100T in similar condition at £389. I clicked the button to buy. I did not phone this time. I missed it. And then, for the last 4 or 5 months, I have been looking and looking and looking at deals. And I came back to sensible land. The land where my wife would not kill me. The land that says, you don't do this often. The land that said, your budget is £300. Quite out of the range of a more modern X100. So I started looking around at alternatives, feeling like a Fuji traitor, plotting the downfall of my beloved brand. And the more I looked, the more it came down to a couple of cameras. Well, more than a couple. It's all about sensor. So, Sony RX1, forget it. Full frame, lovely little beastie, but well over £1,000 second hand. So you got the RX100, Mark II, Mark IIIs, within budget. Mark II, maybe even as cheap as £250 in reasonable condition. But it's a small sensor. Now, there's nothing wrong with small sensors. I looked at the LX100 from Panasonic. I looked at the Pen F. But one of the things about APS-C is just that rendering is just that bit better. The detail is there. And I wanted an X-Trans. So I kind of wrote those off. But as I was looking, I saw people talking about the legendary Ricoh GRii. And I read more and more on this little beastie. And the more I read, and the more I looked at YouTube, and the more I just generally looked about, the more intriguing this little beastie came. Definitely some concerns. No viewfinder, which I thought was what my problem was with my X70. No articulating screen even. But it is magnesium. It is tiny. Okay, the grip is not that big, but it just sits in hand. Look, whoa! I haven't dropped it. One-handed. And you just use your thumb to do all the controls on the back. Snap focus, so that you can preset your distance. And it's a single press to snap focus, or a slow press to use autofocus. So if you're being sneaky and those people are walking towards you, it's done. You set it at 1 meter, 1.5 meter, 2.5 meters to preset focusing. But it isn't stuck there in manual focus. You use it normally with slow presses. Slow being a sort of comparative term here. And you have your autofocus for your other street scenes. Seemed to work. So what I did is, again, I decided I would see it in the flesh. And I went to, can you guess, Park Cameras. Got on the M23, drove down the M23, got off at the Burgess Hill and the Hickstead Junction, drove into Burgess Hill, round the roundabouts, and into the Victoria Business Park, into Park Cameras. This was 1 week ago. The new price of this 2015 camera is £550-ish. They had them in stock. I had a look. I put it in my hands. I fired it up. it does sit lovely. It is truly a pocketable camera. The X70 was close, but it didn't quite fit in a jeans pocket. This does. But I didn't buy a new one. Tempted, thought, really want to play with this and have a look and see if it's any good. But everything told me it was. But then the lovely man said, Mr. Tyler, do you know we have a Ricoh GR2 being assessed for second hand? Would you like me to take your number and phone you when they've assessed it, and we'll see what the price is? Yes, said I, and left the shop rather quickly. They didn't phone me. And during the week, Ricoh, being the people they are, announced the GR3, which has got lots of people rather excited. Now, I know I can't afford the GR3. I don't know how much it's going to be, but it is not going to be a little £500 camera. Ricoh know the success they've got. They put a lovely 24 megapixel sensor in the new one. They probably fixed the dust problem, and it's going to be a little bit north of that £500 mark. And as we said, when reality kicks in, budget £300. Repeat after me, the budget is £300. Anyway, Friday night, getting ready to go to the land of sleepy buys, I thought I'd just have a look and see what Buck have in as second hand, as you do, and have a look at MPB and Camera World, and just see if anybody's got anything interesting. Needless to say, the wife wasn't around, so I was quite safe just looking. And there was no sign of a Ricoh GR2 second hand in Park's website. I thought, oh well, maybe someone at Park's has decided they want it, and they've taken it. Maybe it failed. Lots of things could have happened. But then I decided I would do a search for Ricoh and see what else they did. And sitting all by itself on page 2 of the search was a second-hand Ricoh GR2 for the princely sum of £349 precisely. Now, it mentioned there was a scratch on the screen, and it wasn't described as pristine. So I thought, well, I can get up early and go and have a look. And it's bound to have some charging, so I can take some decent sample pictures and see what it does. So we go down to Park Cameras. Early. 9:15 on a Saturday morning I turn up. It's empty. I look at this little beauty, and not that happy with what I'm seeing. Probably doesn't show up very well on the screen, which is good. I think you might just see it there. There's quite a deep scratch on the side of the screen. That's in the glass. It's not a touchscreen, so that's really not that important. It's not obscuring image review. A little more worrying, and you definitely won't see it here, but there, I think if you can see the hole, there is a screw missing. When I opened the lens, it was a little bit dusty in there. Anyway, fired her up, took some test images. and they look nice. They really did. And I really quite enjoyed the way the menus worked, and started to get to grips with this one-handed operation without being able to read any instruction manuals, and kind of liked the way it felt. It's about the right weight, but it's tiny. It's quiet. It really is quiet. And I thought, it's worth seeing if I can get them to get this into budget. Not really thinking they'd take more than 10% off, which would get it within budget flex range, shall we say. I said, quite interested, but to be honest, it's not quite in your usual condition. And the nice chappie said, you're quite right, Mr. Tyler. So he had a chat with the manager, and the manager had a little thinky, and they took more than what we were talking about off the price. I'm not going to tell you how much I spent, but it was definitely within budget, without any stretch. And I thought, blow it, I'll give that a go. And the credit card came out, the special second credit card, and I purchased it and drove home to get it charged. And as I got home at just gone 10 o'clock in the morning, my darling wife was in the kitchen, and she said, where have you been? Park cameras. What have you been buying? A camera. How much have you spent? She's still speaking to me. Thankfully avoided a divorce and other such penalties. And so, popped up to here, put a little bit more charge in the battery, and decided I would have a little bit of a play with the camera. Oh dear. You see, when I took some images, just in the corners were some dust marks. And they were painful. So I set up some white image shots and varied the amount of light on them just to see just how bad it was. And changed the focal length, and bugger. Nearly every picture I could see it. And you know what it's like when you can see these dots and squiggles on a screen. You can't ignore them. And it was in a place where if it was going to be in the sky, you were going to see it. And I knew that was going to bug me forever and ever. And so I decided I would take it back. Wasn't best pleased with that, because I thought, these things don't come up that often. And I checked the prices on eBay. I checked the other prices before I went. And these things are still going at sort of 400 quid. So I was getting ready. And I just thought, you know what? These are renowned for getting dust. And I knew that before I bought it. So I had a bit more of a read through. And a friend on the internet from DP Review had written a post about removing dust from the sensor. There were videos about how to open the cameras up. I wonder why that screw was missing. And getting rid of dust, and I wasn't going to do that. There was a weird piece of the electric toothbrush method, which apparently, with this particular camera, is quite effective. Could I find what the electric toothbrush method is? No. But there was another post that I thought was so simple and so easy, and couldn't really do any risk, that I'd give it a go. And it said this: take the camera, point the lens downwards, open the lens, take the flat of your hand and bring the camera up and hit it hard and firmly with them. And I thought, don't be stupid. Yeah, it worked. Couple of those, no sign of dots anywhere. Sensor totally clear. Everything's gone. And I'm thinking, I better take this camera out and check it really quickly to make sure I am happy before I take it back if the dust comes back. And then it rained. It had been a grey day anyway, but it rained and rained and rained. I went to bed, slept the sleep of the innocent, thinking about, I hope this camera works, because I really quite like it. I woke up, blue skies. I got up at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, had a shower, didn't shave, and drove down the M23 to Brighton, and decided I would walk the lanes and take some graffiti shots, because let's face it, early Sunday morning in Brighton, everyone's still asleep. There were a few people, but nothing that was going to be that interesting to take. I set the camera up, decided I would go for aperture priority, set my apertures, set my ISO, and went for a little walk. You want to see the images? Well, if you're stuck with this long, you probably do. So, I'm pretty pleased with those. I am no expert street photographer. I'm no expert photographer. But, I'm pretty happy for a first time out with that camera, with the results. Okay, the black and white setting on the camera is no Arcos. But the colours on the standard RAWs? Oh, I do like those. I might actually like them better than the standard colour rendering from my Fujis. The handling of the files, really quite nice. In operation, This thing is a doddle. It felt like an extension of my hand. You hold it like that, you power it up, you take the shot is taken, you walk on. It just works. The sensor, lovely. And it has no dust. Stay dust free. Sorry. The screen, lovely. The little tilt angle thing works beautifully. The lens, all the lens is nice. And sorry Fuji, it's sharper when you stop down to 2.8 etc. It's sharp all the way out. Its focus speed is great. Basically, yeah, it's a good camera. And that quick press snap focusing, beauty. I tried with the very few people that were around to take sneaky shots, and I got them. Yeah, there was a little bit of angling, but that's me, not the camera. But nice. I think I found my little secret. Wander around. Street camera. For a very cheap price for a magnesium alloy body with a beautifully sharp lens. Great rendition onto the sensor. Handling that is to kill for. And yeah, this might weed me off desiring an X100. Now, long stories, some images. Lots of me droning on. Hopefully you've been entertained. This is iGazer's Photography signing off on my first vlog entry. I hope you enjoyed it, but let me know in the comments. I would ask you to subscribe, but I'm not going to do it. Click this button because I don't know how to do that yet. I will not video again on this horrible camera, but we'll give it a go. You'll see some of my drone footage on the channel. But if this works, I might do some more. But let me know. Thanks for watching. Ta-da!